Morning, everybody. It is 8:10 a.m. It is October 28th. Welcome to my channel. This market continues to go higher. It's gapping up again. So, very low volume today. Very low volume. I can show you right here. This is the relative. Let me get that. This is the relative volume. 66% in the ES and 56% in the Nasdaq and the NQ is very poor. Now that's relative to the last 20 days, I believe I have this set to. So, but still, that is not really good. Yesterday's trading was horrendous. Also had lower volume yesterday, and the market pretty much just melted up. And for a while there, didn't do anything. So I just wasn't interested in futures at all. Just was looking at options trades and some stock trades, but really not interested. And today, I'm probably not interested right now with this low volume. Now, something can happen, maybe a catalyst. And we also you have to remember big earnings this week, right? Big earnings, and we have FOMC. So it's crazy. And we have two gaps now below us. Now, FOMC, maybe you can. We're all expecting a quarter point cut. That's not even in question, I don't believe. So this market continues to push higher. That's really the story. And there's not much to really talk about. Yesterday was just this market's getting bought, really. It's kind of nuts, right? So without further ado, welcome to my channel. My name is Steven Gonzalez. I use market profile and buying profile to find structure in the markets along with supply and demand, cam exposure levels, the most traded price of the year, the month, the week, and the previous day. That is my edge. That is how I construct game plans. Also use Anchor VWAPs, anchor them to a moment in time. Market internals help me with the when the market opens, see what the strength or the weakness under the hood. Use Bookmap to execute when I'm in futures. And my weekly expected move indicator helps me just look at the ranges that are expected for the week. That's pretty much it. Okay. Now, hopefully, every day you join me, subscribe, set that alert, give you the market story, the market news, the economic calendar, give you a bunch of technical analysis. Hopefully, you join me every morning. Okay. Now, if you want more in-depth coverage, you're going to join my Discord. All right, it's Confluence Trading. Go to the YouTube homepage, click on the link, and sign up. Yesterday was honestly, I had one update, and then I looked at that market, and I was like, this is just not for me. I'm not going to sit here and try to make believe I have an edge when the trading's like that. It's better off to that guy I was doing. I was just looking at options plays, stock plays, nothing crazy to look at. I literally looked at that and I was like, this is just not trading. Even though we've had volatile days prior to that, weeks prior to that, which with decent movement, ooh, not the best right now. Okay, but like I said, if you want to go to my Discord, hopefully there's something to do today. There might not be. There might not be. All right, I'm not gonna hold. I mean, tomorrow's FOMC. This market dipped a little bit in overnight, and then that's getting bought up again. So unless, like I said, there's some news fireworks catalyst, then maybe we have something. All right, but why don't we get right into the watch list here? Gold is really dipping. It actually went below 4,000. So this is well overdue. Pulling back. I had my alert for the short last week. That would have been paying me nicely. I just wanted to see what the reaction would be at 4,000. Well, obviously it went through it. So a lot of the miners are falling, gold falling. So very interesting. Okay, let's just look here, and I might have put this up already, but I don't know if I did or not. Um, the Dow. The Dow is up 0.43. That's probably mainly because United Healthcare. Okay. Nasdaq. Let's look here. Nasdaq's up 0.18. 30-year bonds being bought. VIX is up 0.13. ES up 0.10. Dollars flat. Russell's down 0.21. 10-year yield down 0.25. Bitcoin's down 0.57. Silver's down 0.58. Crude's down 1.14. Ethereum is down 1.92. Gold almost down 2%. So gold finally pulling back. Now, gold might push down a little lower and then probably hold on to another base. We have to see. It's been parabolic. So moving on to the Mag 7 Plus here. Leaders Nvidia up 0.95, followed by Tesla up 0.93, followed by Amazon. It's about to lay off like 30,000 workers, up 0.74. But I was reading into that, and they said that's barely a part of their workforce. It's like over a million and a half employees. So might not be as newsworthy. Laggards, we really only have AMD. And AMD's been rocketing lately. So that's what's going on there. Let's look at the top sector stocks. United Healthcare, I believe at earnings, they're up 4.46%. And let's see here. Palantir's up 0.61. GE Vernova. Laggards here. Exxon, Chevron. Qualcomm had a rocket yesterday. Wow. If you want to look at volume on Qualcomm yesterday, because they came up with some chips, I believe. Wow. And there's that Newmont Mining, I believe that's called, down 2.47. So that continues to fall. Let's look at the granular, and UPS came out with actually decent earnings this morning. And there it is. PayPal also up 16.51%. PayPal. UPS up 12.26. Skyworks up 10.98. Wayfair up 10.62. Sherwin-Williams up 5.18. I think that's Regeneron up 4.39. Carvana's up 3.90. SoFi up 3.37. FedEx, in sympathy with UPS, up 3.10. Roblox up 2.11. Is there laggards this morning? Yes. Royal Caribbean Cruise Line looks like they're down 8.43%. Carnival Cruise Line down 3.70. Norwegian Cruise Line down 3. So it looks like the cruise lines are getting hit. Waste Management down 2.97. Pinterest down 2.30. Gold Junior Miners, there's the miners, down. All right, moving on to sectors. Leading the pack is healthcare. That's your United Healthcare. All right, utilities and financials. The lagger is Staples. Interesting. Staples down 0.15. Real estate down 0.21. Energy is your laggard this morning, down 0.31. Give me 1 second here. Okay. I think we're ready for some economic calendar here. All right. Obviously, with the government shutdown, we're not getting a lot of data. Case Shiller today. API crude at 4:30. All right. FOMC's tomorrow. Okay. Let's look up to see if the juice here, if there's Trump, anything with Trump today. Trump meets with business leaders. That already happened. Looks like we have consumer confidence at 10 a.m. Let's see. I'm going to actually put that on my alarm. I didn't see that. That's probably a 1-star, but I still want to be aware that that's going on. Again, like I said, I have to really see something in futures today to be interested. Okay. It looks like Trump says, I want to congratulate NVIDIA's Jensen Huang. I'm meeting Huang tomorrow. And then Trump saying Powell will be out in a few months. So interesting. Interesting. And then you're probably going to get somebody in there that's probably going to want to cut rates faster. We'll have to see. Okay. But yeah, I don't think there's anything to see here. Let's look at the earnings calendar real quick. So today, after the close yesterday was Waste Management, Bed Bath Beyond, Whirlpool. This morning was SoFi, United Healthcare, PayPal, UPS, Corning, JetBlue, DR Horton, Royal Caribbean. So Royal Caribbean must have had bad earnings. Wayfair. After the close today, Enphase, Solar Energy, Booking Holdings, Seagate, Visa, Electronic Arts, Cheesecake Factory. Now, tomorrow before the open, Verizon, Boeing, CVS Health, Caterpillar, Fiserv, Etsy, Kraft Heinz, ADP. Okay, and then the big ones tomorrow after the close: Meta, Microsoft, Google, Alphabet, okay, Chipotle, Carvana, ServiceNow, and what else here? Mercado Libre, Starbucks. All right, let's go to some stock news here. Amazon stock rose 0.7 after the tech giant announced plans to reduce its corporate workforce by about 14,000 roles. United Healthcare stock rose 3.4 after the health insurer lifted its annual adjusted income per share forecast, citing quarterly earnings which topped expectations. PayPal stock soared 15% after the digital payments firm announced it had signed an agreement with OpenAI to embed its payments wallet into ChatGPT. UPS stock gained 8.4 after the delivery giant reported third quarter earnings that significantly exceeded analyst expectations despite ongoing volume challenges on its domestic segment. Royal Caribbean stock slumped 7.3 after the cruise operator's third quarter revenue fell short of expectations, even as the company raised its annual profit forecast, betting on strong demand. JetBlue Airways stock fell 0.9 after the carrier reported a narrower than expected third quarter loss. DR Horton stock fell 5.2 after the house builder posted fourth quarter earnings that came in below that. So that's real estate. That's home builders. So Wayfair stock jumped over 11% after the online furniture retailer reported third quarter results that beat analysts' expectations. Regeneron stock gained 5.3 after the biotechnology firm posted third quarter results ahead of Wall Street expectations. And NextEra Energy stock gained 2.6 after the electrical utility company announced a partnership with Google to revive Iowa's only nuclear power plant. Wow. No wonder why some nuclear stocks are rising. I'm seeing this morning. All right, that's what's going on there. Let's look at some other news. I don't want to repeat anything, so it says oil slumped amid uncertainty over Russia's sanctions and potential OPEC plan to raise output. That's why oil's falling. Let's see GE Vernova here. About 20 companies from Japan and the U.S. have expressed interest in projects that are part of Tokyo's planned $550 billion investment package. A fact sheet issued by the two countries showed the companies include SoftBank Group, Westinghouse, GE Vernova. Interesting. What else? All right, looks like Paramount Skydance will begin a major round of layoffs with about 1,000 job cuts. Just looking at other stuff here. All right, I think we're done here. Let's look at breadth. Even though this market's going up, and we know the markets move by market cap weight, right? But let's see breadth. All right, 62% of the stocks in the S&P 500 are over the 28 simple moving average. Still not unbelievably great, but remember, as long as the big players move, I think they said that the Mag 7 is like 34% of the SPY. That's crazy. Okay. Now, anything else here? Let's look at any upgrades and downgrades today. Maybe there's something here for us. All right, CrowdStrike upgraded. What else here? Nokia upgraded. Any downgrades today? Snap downgraded. All right. Nothing really to report there. Okay. Let's get right into the daily charts here. And there again, there's really not much to talk about. Shana Loka, welcome. Yep, SoFi. Yep. All right, let's look at SPY here. Go to our daily charts here. So we tapped into this channel and we closed above this channel yesterday. I'm not putting a ton of weight into it, but that's what we did. Okay. Above last week's highs. Look at that big gap up, right? Expected move for the week to the upside is 691.94. Expecting $14.69. That's the range expected this week. There's Friday's close, that black line. All right, so that's what's going on. Now we close at 685 and we're gapping up again to 686 right up here. All right, it's just all this trading. You got to understand this makes sense because this range was our range for a while. You could even extend it out to here, right? And now we gap and gap. Anybody who is short or who's still holding on to a short is done. They're toast. Okay. Now, let's look at futures here. So you can see right here, you dipped a little bit from yesterday. But like I said, not much to read in about it. We have no resistance above us. Okay, no resistance above us. Let's look at the Qs. So the Qs gapped above this trend channel, right? There's last week's highs. And we're at 629.50 right now. We're gapping up again. Let's look at futures. You can see it looks the same as the ES. Another gap here. And we're just up at the highs of yesterday. Right? Up at the highs of yesterday. Nothing to see here, but just getting bought up. Let's just look at RSP. Did RSP make an all-time high yesterday? That's the equal weighted. Yes, it did, but see, it's pulled back, right? Right. And then the New York Stock Exchange, the NYSE, did not make an all-time high yet. Still not there yet. All right, still not there yet. And obviously, the Nasdaq Composite, it's over 3,500 stocks. That's going along because that's tech heavy, right? Totally different look, right? The NYSE and the Nasdaq Composite, very interesting, right? Very interesting. All right, real quick, we'll go over it really quick. We'll go over that triple-headed monster real quick, see what's shaking there. We're going to start out with that 10-year yield. Okay, that 10-year yield is trending lower. Trending lower. Can we get back into the 3% yields? Right, we're in the now 3.98, but the meaning like deeper into it. Let's see. That trend is going lower, so we'll have to see. Now, on top of that, we always want to look at the dollar. Remember I said that dollar is begging to go higher. I mean, it's been bottoming out here. Look at that. One sharp move up, I think that could spell a little, not, a higher dollar is not great for equities, okay, and commodities. So we just have to see. It's just been in this big base, okay, the dollar, big base here. And finally, we're going to talk about the VIX. The VIX is dying. I mean, look at that spike. Look at that spike. And then we're down to a 15. Right, we're down to a 15. So that's your triple head monster. This morning, again, there's not much to talk about on an hourly chart. There's really not. Okay. Normally I would talk about that because there's be some golden nuggets there. But we're going to go right into even internals yesterday. The only thing I could talk about here internally from yesterday is everything was pretty much financials. Berkshire Hathaway kind of sold off, then recovered a little bit. So that was the little bit of weakness in financials. Nothing was really that weak. Okay, nothing. And then so you could see the internals early on. The equal weight took a dip, but then see that recovered and follow market cap, and then this is where right here in the SPX we started to just gain, and that was some buying. Look at how flat that was. That's really not great price action right here, and then boom into the close. Right? Nothing really special about this. Just not very. When you have low volume like this, and the volatility is low, the tempo is slow, you make money, I guess, but it's hard to unless you're staring at something and you make trades up, very hard to trade that. That's why I stayed away. Just not smart. I don't have to trade. So, I mean, I used to feel like that. All right. And now I think we're just going to go right into market profile, volume profile. And like I said, this volume is not good. It is not great at all. So let's look at this. We can really gap on a gap, and we're gapping again. I mean, trust me, this is getting frothy. This is getting very frothy. Okay. All right. So we're going to look at some levels. Now, the 24-hour actually has moved the most traded price of the week up here to 69.08, but I like to see that in the real-time trading hours, like on this chart here. See, it's still down here at 68.30. All right. But in the 24-hour, it actually moved up. We do have some single prints here from yesterday. That's emotional buying. I actually should put them on my chart. Let me just do that. Because they could be supportive. Let's just put that on my chart here. All right. Those represent single prints from yesterday. So we're gapping up, right? Not a big gap. Not a big gap. This marker's not going to cooperate right now. So let's exit this. Let's restart it. And good morning, Shana. Look, I'm not sure if you're still with us. All right, so small gap. So gap fill 69.12. Right, and then honestly, I'm going to put a range all the way to the overnight lows in the single prints here. That's the most traded price of yesterday. You got the close here. Very weird looking profile in the overnights. Okay, very weird looking profile. Bunch of demand zones below us. I mean, the weaknesses in energy and real estate do not move markets. Okay, they do not move markets at all. So pretty easy today what we're going to look at. And this demand has the 50% Fibonacci of yesterday. We have the gap, yesterday's overnight lows right here. We have no overhead resistance. Okay. Like I said, if something really presents itself, there'll be something to look at. Other than that, probably like I said, it doesn't make me excited. But where there's always a plan, right? That's what we're going to get into now. Okay. Most traded price of the overnight, right here, you can see it. Okay. So we're at all-time highs again. So what would I like to see? Well, maybe we move up and we pull back to that most traded price of yesterday. Now if that holds, you could start to melt up again. Okay. If you fall further, right, and you hit those overnight lows, you then go into yesterday's single prints. Well, this starts yesterday single. Any support in those single prints is a buy. Okay, even if you clean the single prints out, you have demand zone here, and that's a buy. Now, deeper in, I'd say there's be some caution there. Some caution. Now, anything above this gap is pretty much bullish. Okay, it's just with the low volume, and I don't know who would be shorting this yet. Right, I do believe most gaps get filled. We have two large gaps below us. Who knows what's going to happen from here? Okay, that's really my long plays. Okay, shorts, right? I'd have to see some move up, followed by lower highs, right? And maybe if internals are not that strong, you can get the move to the most traded price yesterday. You can get the move to the overnight lows, these single prints. Okay, if you clean those single prints and the market really starts to panic, maybe you finally hit the top of this gap. That's about 68.77. If you start to fill that gap, that would be interesting. Gap fills all the way down here at 68.41. That would be a lot of panic to do that. Can it happen? Sure. Could Trump say something or whatever? Possibly. Remember, FOMC is tomorrow. Okay, so this is like, you really have to see something. If you want to be conservative, break this and try to hold into here. Like I said, I don't think that's an easy trade. Just because internally we have to get weak. And I don't know. With Qualcomm yesterday, AMD's powering, Nvidia's up this morning. It's just crazy. It really is. The momentum is serious. Very, very serious momentum going on right now. Okay. Let's look at the Qs. Gap on a gap as well. Gapping up again. Right? So, just crazy. It really is. So you're gapping up, gap fills 25981s. You do have a little bit of a supply zone here. I don't really trust it. Okay. So what do we have also? We have overnight lows, and we have this demand zone here. What do you think encompasses the most traded price yesterday? Okay. Then we have the midpoint is support from yesterday's session. And then we have a demand zone at the top of this gap and yet the previous day's lows, yesterday's lows. Okay, so very, very bullish posture here, structure. Okay. So, what would I be looking at? Let's break this out. We'll start with the who's in control. That would be your bull. Bulls are in control here. And let's see. It looks like you made a little wick up here. Now, what would I like to see? If you pull back, you could pull back to the most traded price seed overnight. That's around 259.70s. That could be a buy. If you get a deeper pullback, you break the overnight lows and you hold yesterday's most traded price. You could hold that and can go up higher as well. All the way down to the midpoint of yesterday, 25889. Right at this support, you could get a little boop and move higher. That's kind of probably what I'd be interested in. Now, anything above this gap is pretty much still bullish. Okay. Let's look at bear side. on the bear side, now this actually supply zone was broken. I can actually get rid of that. So again, I would want to see some failure, some thinning out, maybe lower highs, and then see if you can work yourself back into the most traded price of the overnight, or yesterday's most traded price, 25927s. Okay, that could be it. If you lose this, that could cause some selling and break the 50% Fibonacci of yesterday. You have the week-to-date VWAP here, and maybe we just go to the top of the gap. Now, if we do this, the market would be a little weak, and we could start the cascade, but I don't really know. Fill the gap. Your gap fill, that's around 25569s. And like I said, very hard to gauge this. You know, the internals will tell me. Internals will tell me. All right. Now that's it for the analysis today. Like I said, I'm not expecting much today. Okay, if we get into some more charts here, here's my express chart. This is crude. This is all about weekly profiles and monthly profiles here. Just want to make sure you guys can see everything here. Let me bring this down. So this is your ES, and let's maybe do yellow. These are 4-hour candles. All right, each blue profile is a week, each white profile is a month. This whole thing, the heat map is a rolling year. The white is the current year. So you can see we're thinning out. So see this high volume nodes, and we're starting to thin out. So I think eventually we will get some type of corrective activity back here. Do I know when? No. But as a profile, you know, profiles are treated simple. The difference, see, you have that, you're running out of participants here. Okay. So we just have to see. Now looks at the Nasdaq here. Same type of chart. All right. Same toppiness that I'm seeing as well. You can see just a volume profile anywhere. Doesn't matter what time frame you're on. You can see it here. Running out participants, running out, especially with two gaps. Okay. Now, what did the market has to do, right? If you have thin volume here, you need to start holding prices and creating a new base. So at least you can create a high volume node here to give you a shot to move higher. If you can't do that, you start to move back to value. Okay, so that's what I'm looking at. If we look at a daily chart, right? Let's look at this daily charts together. Right? Look at this. ES. Right? Profile, gap ups. It's just very bullish right now. It's your NASDAQ. Just big consolidation. That's what I'm saying. We came out of a huge base. That's why this move is continuing, right? Take all the rest of those shorts out until we get new shorts in. All right, so that's what's going on, folks. So hopefully you enjoyed that analysis. If you did, smash that like button. That would be much appreciated. Okay. Now, hopefully you join me every morning. I give you the market story, the headline, news, the economic calendar, basically just what's moving our markets or what's not moving our markets. Like today, I gave you the relatively low volume we're in. So I'm not expecting fireworks today unless there's a news catalyst. Tomorrow's FOMC. Big earnings after tomorrow's close. So there's a lot on deck, and I think this market might just sit here. Now, I don't know, right? Nobody knows what's going to happen. Could we get a jolt from something today? Maybe. I just really don't know. Okay. And I'm very honest, you know, if I have a good sense of a probability, I will let you guys know, just like crude, right? When crude exploded, it was just a matter of time. All right, had a little news catalyst. Now, let's see, it's kind of pulling back a little bit. Now, if you want more in-depth coverage, you're going to join my Discord as Confluence Trading. Go to the YouTube homepage, click on the link, sign up. What are you waiting for? Let me be your indicator. Now, hopefully, today there's something to sink my teeth in. But when there's something where I'm like, why am I going to trade that while looking at a paint dry, looking at a barcode? What edge do I have in that? Not a lot. Okay, not a lot, right? And I am all day looking at options plays, advanced options. If anybody wants to know about that, ask me a question. All right. But that's pretty much it, folks, for me today. We have our plans. All right. I'm going to sit there, like I said, probably just not excited. And maybe there's an opportunity there. Maybe we get something to sink our teeth in today. Sink our teeth in today. All right. So without further ado, well, everybody, I hope you stay green. Remember, no trade's a trade. And if I don't see you in my Discord, I'll see you guys tomorrow morning.